Hi, I'm Brenda Moore, and it's my pleasure to tell you about the Food Sharing Project and how the United Way helps us do the work that we do in the community. The Food Sharing Project is the organization which provides the breakfast, lunch, and hearty snack programs which operate in 88 elementary and secondary schools across the regions of Kingston, Frontenac, Lennox, and Addington. In a typical school year, we would support about 16,000 students, which is almost half of those registered in our area. Every week, we deliver $12,000 worth of nutritious food like fresh fruit and vegetables, grain, dairy, and protein items right to school doors. Our programs are available to any student, regardless of need, and provided in an inclusive, caring environment. Schools can choose from a variety of models based on what makes sense for them and the availability of space, as well as the needs of students and their volunteers. They can have a sit-down breakfast, which usually happens before school starts, hearty snacks, which are available in classroom bins, or grab-and-go lunches. Some schools do a combination of all three. The volunteers who support our programs are usually teachers, educational assistants, office administrators, and sometimes custodians. Children come to school hungry for a variety of reasons, and educators as well as research tells us that when they can access fresh food at school, they are more able to engage in their learning, they have a better ability to focus on tasks, and more likely to have positive social interactions throughout their day. You know how you feel if lunch is just a little bit late. Imagine a child who is struggling to do all the really hard things that we ask them to do at school without having had breakfast that morning, and for some, dinner last night. I'm a retired principal, and one of the first questions that I would often ask when a student came to me off the yard was, when was the last time you ate? And if the answer was yesterday, we would go down to the Food Sharing Project program and get something to eat before we tried to tackle the problem that the student came to me with. Students tell us that the food they have at school really makes a difference for them. Younger students tell us the food makes them feel happy, and that they ask their parents if they can have apples like we have at school. A grade 5 student once told me that he wasn't sure why, but math was an awful lot easier to do after he'd had something to eat. Secondary students tell us that the food they pick up on the way to class just helps them get there. Last year, a school coordinator in a secondary program told me about a student who was putting a lot of milk cartons into his backpack one day. When she gently inquired why, he said he was taking it home to his siblings because school was the only place they got fresh milk. In Kingston, there are so many families who are working really hard to make ends meet, and the cost of fresh fruit and vegetables and dairy is just out of reach for them. So if we can feed their children at school, they will hopefully have the money left over to pay the rent and the hydro and put gas in the car to get to work. Last spring, when schools and workplaces were closed due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the Food Sharing Project shifted to a home delivery model. Logistically, there was an awful lot to figure out. But we knew we had to, because the children who counted on us at school for their nutritional needs were just at home. With the support of the United Way, provincial and federal funding, generous donors, Rotary clubs from across the region, and an incredible team of volunteers, we provided a fresh food delivery a box of fresh food delivered to family doors or monthly grocery store gift cards to almost 600 families from April till the end of August. Every week, our drivers heard how much families appreciated this support from their community. One family referred to it as their luxury box, and remember, it just had in it food like apples and oranges and cheese and milk and bread. Just the basics, really. When we receive our grant from the United Way, we go right to the grocery store or to a local supplier, and we purchase the food that children need to access what school has for them, whether it's remotely or at school. You can be confident that your donation to the United Way will stay right here in our region and support students and their families. We believe that it takes a community to feed a child, And in this community, we are grateful that we have the United Way to help us all live with a sense of hope, dignity, and belonging. Thank you so much.